Hello everyone, I'm Kano from Liquipedia, and today I'll show you how to add transfers to Liquipedia. Transfers are basically when a player or multiple players change something within a team. So this could be something from player joining a team, leaving a team, going from one team to another organization acquiring a roster, sometimes players changing their roles within a said team. This is more prevalent for MOBAs, but also a player changing their role from being a player to a coach, for example. There's multiple ways that we deal with this, but generally they're all the same across our wikis. I'll show it on a mobile wiki because that deals with the more intricate parts of changing. So yeah, we're on the League of Legends wiki. If we want to edit our transfers, we head down the page until we find the transfer box. This one shows all of the latest transfers, so sort of like the last 20-25 transfers that have happened. And normally what I would do is press the edit button in the bottom right corner here. This will take you to the latest transfer page where people edit on. Because essentially what we do is we split up our transfers per period. Sometimes it's per quarter of a year. In some wikis where there's a lot of transfers like League of Legends, the pages become too big, so we split them up by month. And sometimes on smaller wikis it's just by year. So it's just, this button will usually take you to the latest one. In this case, this one will take me to June in 2025. However, the transfer I've prepared here at the top is in May. So what we do instead is we go to see more transfers. And we have a small little nav box here, so I can actually find May. I could also type in the search bar player transfers and just go to the URL directly, but I figured this would work. So, pressing edit on this transfer page, we will start off. We can ignore basically here what's at the top. This just sets the title. We add the nav box. We can ignore this. If you want to, there's this part which is read first. It basically explains, hey, some small things you can do, and there's a bunch of preset empty templates that you can use to copy. Generally, I don't really use these. More so, I often copy the ones that are already set and then just change the info there. So yeah, as you can see here, this is where the actual transfers are. Every row is its own transfer. So in this case, we have this example. We have a player called Sizifek, which is by name. Then there's pause for position, because as mentioned, League of Legends has positions in the game like AD carry, mid lane, which is relevant. And team 1 is the team that you will see on the left side. So that's the team they are leaving. And if you put team 2, that's the team they are joining. So in this case, Sizivek, who was an AD carry in Rosman Centaurs, is left. And then you add a reference. So this is a link where the player has stated, hey, I've left the team. And the same can be seen, for example, further down. Miniduke, mid, left, Veni, Vidi, Vichy. Sword Art here, instead of a team, he has role 2. Roles are sometimes defined as like a bit of a vague term, but in this time, role 2 is retired, means this player has decided to retire from competing. Another one we have here, that's a bit more complicated, is a player called Joko. If the player doesn't have a page, you can also set the flag, so flag is France in this case. Position is jungle, and then position _2 means that his next position is a different one. So in his position 02, he's a strategic coach. And here you can see in team 1, one more esports, he was the jungler. Team 2, Nord esports, he has joined us as strategic coach. So let's try and add a transfer ourselves. I prepared one that I found recently. So I have a tweet here from a player called Joki. He says, hey, I'm looking for team as a jungler for next bit. And we know, or at least I already know, this player used to be on a team called Actions Per Minute. As you can see here, he is from Poland, jungler, initially joined in April. Just to quickly check, this tweet was made on May 27th. So we take the announcement date that the tweet was made in. Generally, sometimes with time zones it can be confusing, but try to stick to the time zone that the player or team is in that made the tweet or announcement. So now that I know it's in May 27th, I am usually a bit lazy, as I mentioned. So I will copy a similar transfer and then press enter to create a new row and paste this one. So first off, I'll go back to the tweet, copy the URL, change set URL to the announcement, as you can see here. Then quickly check on this page. The player here is called Joki, so this needs to align because in the tweet he might be called Joki37. We copy paste this just in case we type it wrong. Put in a name. We remove a link because this player In this case, for Zest, the page that he's actually on is called Zest Kim Dong Min, so you can ignore this. We can quickly go back to the team page again to check. He was jungler. Usually we just use the brute jungle. And he's leaving the team, so it's team 1 actions per mid. And we can press save. And as you can see, what I forgot to do was adding the flag, because this player doesn't have a page. If the player has a page, the flag is automatically filled, but in this case, this player doesn't have a page yet, so I need to flag is, in this case, Poland. We use PL as the shortcut for that. Save again, and we have fixed our mistake that there's not a flag added. And now you can see May 27 Joki goes from actions per minute as a jungler to none. And the URL is here, and it will take us to the tweet that I've had prepared here before. So, League of Legends uses, that's most of what you need to do to add a transfer into the transfer list, but you will also need to update the associated pages. So normally, this might be a bit manual, but League of Legends, luckily, and many other wikis use an automated system. So what you then can do is you go to actions per minute, and this team uses an automated system. So if I now hit this button here, purchase pages cast, it will force to load all the latest changes. I can hit this, and it will update the transfer we just did. Good to know is that normally in these automated pages, things like name is automatically loaded. If the players don't have a page, we don't know the name, we can manually add it still in these tables. However, this also means I have to move it when we go to the former player section, but I'll show that in just a second. I purge this page cache, it loads, you can see he's disappeared, and he's now listed here. The name is missing, so what I can do is press edit, find the name, Ctrl C, move it from active squad auto to former squad auto, press save, as you can see, go down, the name is back where it's supposed to be. So that's how you update those transfers. Now, this player doesn't have a page, but let's say a player with a page does also have a transfer. You would do the same here. You press purge, and the list down here would automatically update. So that's generally how that works. On some other wikis, the teams that's normally also here would also update. It's all automatic. The wikis that are still manual would require a bit more work. So for example, Counter-Strike, this all still works the same. You add the transfer here, and then you would open up, let me find a recent change that is a bit simpler. Yeah, we have the keyed stars here, and Leo Dirk joining them as one of the players. So what you would need to do, press edit, you can go and fill out the team field for this player, so he's joined the keyed stars. And then down here, there is a team history list with the dates, so you would, in this case again, I can add another line to just do the same thing. You would copy paste this, change this to present to show he's presently on this team, and change it to the joining date. And then you would hit save, and it would automatically show again. The same would happen on the team page. In this case, Keyed Stars signed a whole new team. So what people do here, they're a bit more descriptive in what's happened. You will have to scroll a bit to find the right date. And then basically to explain, there's tabs for each year, which are separated by content. We're now on content 7 for 2025. Type the date, June 24th, and then you can type something this sort of like Keyed Stars enters Counter-Strike 2 with the signing of the roster of this previous team, listing the players that joined. The brackets here used are made to sure that the players are actually linked to. Then you can add a reference, which you'll have to manually, with citing the web URL, adding the title, setting which language was this transfer in, and a date. Then you can add to the player roster section. So CSGO is even more complicated with multiple games, but as you can see, there's an active squad. You can add a new row, add the names. Reference back to this reference, which you can do by, if you copy this one, let's just remove this one for now. You would add this, and then make sure to add a backslash here. So reference is this reference, and we can later see it. So that's how that's happened. You have to sort of manually update each table. But other than that, it's fairly similar across wikis. Most of the current new wikis all use the automated system, which is a lot easier. But yeah, basically the general gist that it is, just head to the transfer. Especially if it's just the latest transfer you need to add, just use this button and you can work from here. If I can show again, if I want to add mid laner, flag is Poland, position mid, Team 1 is Team Liquid. Team 2 is G2 Esports. I can hit show preview, and that's how it looks like. It's generally that simple. I hope this tutorial helped you to get a bit started with it. Have a good day.